Hello, welcome back to the Tears of Fire podcast where I go over the last Dragon Chronicles by Chris DeLacy, and today we're going to be starting the first four chapters of The Fire Eternal. Thank you for joining me today. I hope your flight in was safe and you hit no turbulence. We have another special episode where I'm joined again by the girls from Eragon and Back Again, Miss Darien and Miss Lucy. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Hello.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. Hi, this voice belongs to Darien.
And this is Lucy.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm ecstatic. The last part of the third book, Firestar, was kind of a big ending. I know, did you guys read any of those notes or anything, or what did you guys do to catch up real quick?
I the way I prepared was that I rattled my brain for memories from when I read the first three books in 8th grade. But the ending of that last one has stuck with me of being just so intensely dramatic. And then the reveal that Xana is pregnant, and I'm just like, excuse me, what? She's what? I mean,
Excuse me,
I'm
what?
14. What just happened? The
Yeah.
man just died and polar bears took him away and you're pregnant? Oh my gosh. And I actually never read past that point. Not on
Wow.
purpose. Well, because the book, this one, Fire Eternal, was published in the US in the summer of 2008. And I started high school the following year, and my high school library didn't have the books, and I just didn't go after them because it had been months and months, and so I just never circled back. I kind of forgot about it until Diego first reached out to us about being on the previous episode, and I was like, oh yeah, I did read them. How many? And I found out I did not read most of them, which is I definitely thought I read at least like half of them, and there's so many more.
There's so many.
This is my first time following up with what
What about you,
happened.
Lucy?
Oh, that's cool. I didn't actually. I didn't. I was like, I should probably have done some research on it. No, but I'm like, it was kind of fun to jump in blind last time, so I was like, it might be fun to do the same this time. But I got like the gist of what happened at the end by these four chapters. I was like, ooh, that must have been one hell of an ending on the last book. If this is how we're opening this book, holy cow! So yeah, no, I was very excited just reading these chapters and being like, ooh, what did happen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I do.
awesome. Oh, go ahead.
I want to praise Delancey because I think they did a really good job of picking up on, like, here we go, we're starting a new book. The previous one had a dramatic ending, and kind of like doing the recap points for that without feeling like we are just like explaining everything over again. Because if like you're a reader who just put down the last one and picked up the next one, sometimes I feel like books do that, and it's like I was just there.
Mhm.
But if it's been years or you didn't, I think it was a very successful. It's like, hey, if this just happens to be the first time you're picking it up or you haven't read it since you were 14 years old, here's what you missed on Glee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got a big feeling because I read a lot of Percy Jackson when I was young too, and
Mhm.
so those books do a good job as well. If you haven't really read the previous ones, they'll give you a quick summary or just explaining what happened right
Yeah.
before to get you back in the swing. And I think this book did a pretty good job. I mean, I don't want to compare them too much and get people angry, but I feel like this one did a little bit better a job of telling you what happened without explicitly saying it. And.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the characters thinking about, like, kind of the beats that most impacted then. We don't have one character just giving a full recap of everything. It's like fragmented. It feels wild that it is 5 years. It really feels like maybe it should have only been 2 with how intensely everyone is still responding to this. Not to say there's no timeline in overcoming grief and loss and things like that, but it does feel like it's a lot fresher than it would, especially with how much Lucy has. Yes.
Yes,
Little.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got like scared for a second. Like, wait, hold on. Yeah, with Lucy going from like 10 to 15, it feels like she's responding to this the way a 12-year-old would respond.
Yeah, I think I would have also liked to see a lot of the interaction between David and Xana's daughter too, Alexa, because we didn't really get any of her growth or anything. We just see her as a 5-year-old kid popping in, and they're interacting. Which actually, that's one thing I do want to talk about is so recently. Not recently. We've been together for over a year now, but so my girlfriend has a little guy. He's 6 years old. We were together when he was
Aw.
like 5 years, five and a
Mhm.
half, and then he had a
Aw.
birthday. But when I was reading this, the way that Alexa was acting was spot on. I felt like I
Oh,
was
very
talking
good.
to
Okay.
Adrian. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
I've had this exact conversation before.
Mhm.
Nice, nice. Yeah, the littles in my life are a lot littler, so I was like, I love being able to find out like, so like, does it feel like it's hitting on the right age? Because I do feel like,
Mhm.
if I recall when we were on last, I felt like Lucy wasn't. She felt like she read as so much younger
Younger, yes.
than
Yes.
she was. Like I was surprised to find that she was like, I think she was 10 and not like 7. Whereas here. I don't know. Although when she told me that she was 15, I was like, "Oh, you know what? Actually, I want to retract my previous statement. This is how a 15-year-old would respond to this."
Just
Especially when she
angry.
breaks into Xana's mail, and I'm like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? This is you're 15? Oh no, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's self-righteous justification. Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, even a kid wouldn't do this. Oh, you're a teenager? Never mind. Yeah, you think you know everything. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
Very rebellious. All right, so I guess to kick it off, then let me give you guys a quick review or
Yes.
summary of what happened in the ending of the third book. So
Please,
I don't know if did you guys ever read Lord of the Rings at all?
Oh.
Lucy.
Oh. Oh, so much. I
Who's your
love
fave?
Lord of the Rings. It's Rob Inglis does such a good job. I can go on and on and on about it, but it's so good. They're my comfort read. I will listen to those every day, all day. Anyway,
Lucy's an
sorry.
audio girly.
No, that's all. I love those too. I actually read The Hobbit, and then like 5 years later is when I read The Lord of the Rings, and I
That's
still,
so good.
to me, I personally like The Hobbit way more. I actually just bought some special editions, but
That's so
I,
cool.
what I guess I
Ooh.
wanted to bring that up about was that how the Lord of the Rings jump perspectives so much that it's almost hard to
Mhm.
keep up with it.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
last like 5 or 6 chapters of Firestar was the same way,
Oh, interesting.
especially because the big finale and they had to have the fight and there were so many moving pieces and everybody
Mhm.
coming together that I feel like some of the chapters could have been combined into one since we were sticking with some of
Mm.
the same ones. But he did a pretty good job. But so
Ooh,
at
hey,
the
hold on.
go ahead. Yeah.
It's just because I think this might be amusing for listeners, can Lucy and I try to piece together what we think happened in the finale based off of the bits we got from the end of the book, and you can tell us how right or wrong we are?
I think that would be fun. Yes, please do.
Yes.
Okay,
You can.
so
Yeah. Go ahead, Darren.
I mean, actually, you go first because have scrapings of what
Oh,
I
okay.
remember. So
I'll go
you
first.
should go first. Yeah.
So I
perfect.
think what happened is just based on just what those first opening chapters was the characters went to the Arctic for some reason, probably to stop the polar bears, probably something to do with the ice age or like something about a snow god trying to take over the world is kind of what I'm assuming. And then they get there and a big battle ensues and main character David.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. David, he gets impaled by an icicle or something and dies, or quote air quotes dies, and then gets dragged away by polar bears. And I'm only assuming that because Darian, you said earlier he gets
Oh,
taken
yeah.
by
I did
by
say
polar bears. And then apparently, like, yeah, it ends up pregnant, and then or not ends up, the girlfriend ends up pregnant or is pregnant, and it ends. I think that might have been where just like by the vibe of this, how this book ends. It ends with his death, him being taken away, and then they're like left in the Arctic. The other characters are left in the Arctic trying to find their way back home, which apparently I don't know if would be a big deal because then we cut and they're back home. So I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm going.
All right. Before Darian, before you go, I would say Lucy. I would give that like you were about 75% right on that.
Excellent.
Okay. I know we were in the Arctic. I think they were up there for. I'm gonna say so. I think they were up there for research purposes, or up there for like climate change activism. Is either David was doing book research, or we were specifically up there because it's the early 2000s, and
Yep.
every children's novel is gonna be about climate change because it's
Yep.
a big deal, and we got to take care of it. And to be clear, yes, it is. Yes, we should. Yes, we like. No, I'm not. I
Yeah.
want to be clear. Climate change is real. Climate change is a big problem. We need to make some changes. Fuck AI. Sorry,
Yep.
I don't think you swear on your podcast. Sorry, Diego.
No, it's all
So,
ages. Okay, so I actually had the same conversation with Mike Schubert over at the Newest Olympian, and we
mm-hmm.
had different definitions of all ages. So his all ages means kids and everything. When I say all ages, I mean that adults too. I'd say even though these books are aimed for younger children,
Mm-hmm.
I want
Mm-hmm.
unfiltered opinions, and I don't want you to feel like you have to um I don't know how to say that, just, like, change your own thoughts and opinions so that it matches. I want everything, I just put a disclaimer saying, "Hey, there might
Yeah.
be some language,
Yeah.
so listen at your own risks."
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
our podcast is rated E for explicit because sometimes I say fuck and not necessarily because anything else. But also, I think our
I
shows.
say it a lot.
Yeah. So okay, the AI sucks, and we need to stop with the data centers. But okay,
Yes, agreed.
so I think they were up there for climate activism, but also because the dragons might be able to help stop the AI. Oh, if only. The
Yes,
climate change.
please.
It's also, I think it's not. Like, it's not necessarily just like man-made destruction of the environment. I think it's also like evil dragon might actually be responsible for it because the polar bears are our friends. Like, the polar bears are our allies. And something's going after them, and the fact that they are dying because the ice is melting is very, very bad for a lot of reasons in the real world too. And also it mentions in this start of this book that there is a cat that I think has the is some sort of extra terrestrial evil entity is possessing the cat, but
Oh yeah.
it's fine. And I think it was actually aliens, might be, or are they angels? But anyway, I think we're up there to try to stop whatever is actually causing the climate crisis. And then things break real bad, and there is a dragon that I think we failed to save, and that results in David dying, and the polar bears take his body away, and oh no. And in this book, I think he may be a polar bear now.
Alright, I mean, with all that you guys, I would say, got up to about 80-85% there, so,
Yeah.
um
I'll
Okay.
take it.
so with the if I can just quickly summarize it, what happens is
Please.
we did end up in the
Please.
Arctic, and they
Mhm.
were originally up there to begin with for Xana and David being researching exactly what you guys said, some climate change, the effects on the
Nice.
ozone, why the ice caps are melting, and then we eventually get back up there because we find out that Gwaine, who was the last real dragon, he
Right.
dropped his fire tear, and the fire tear was given to Guinevere. Guinevere released it into the ocean when she was being saved by Thorin, who is the original first polar bear. He goes from what I gathered to be a grizzly bear into transformation, magical, blah, 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 blah. And the goddess Gaia is what changed him into be the protector, and when the fire tear went into the ocean, it created the ice caps and the Arctic. And so the ice itself is what is the magic. And then
Oh
we
yeah.
we returned to the Arctic because Gwaine's final resting place is on an island called the Tooth of Ragnar. And
Mm-hmm.
Ragnar was one of the old ancient polar bears. He was one of the uh, main nine there was that were like protectors slash leaders, and so they were trying to revive him. Didn't end up happening. He got drowned. The island
Ooh.
collapsed after
Oh no.
Ingvar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ingvar is the main polar bear now, and he smashed up the tooth, sank the entire island. But there was one real dragon. So in the middle of all this, there was Grockle, who was put into stone at the end of book two, and then
Huh?
book three was basically his travel of being revived, becoming a real dragon with real fire, and then he had to go to the Arctic, and the evil beings, there's the Fane, and I wouldn't necessarily call them evil beings. So it seemed like there's factions, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
the good side and the bad side. There was a younger Fane that came through, and he was wanting the return of the dragon. So he was trying to help the Penny Kettles revive Grockle in any way he can, and
Mm-hmm.
he's the one who got locked into Bonington the cat. And
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and so Bonington had cancer. Seems like that obviously is
Mm-hmm.
not in how would you say that? It's not anything to be worried about now, it's almost cured, but
Yeah.
he
It
does
feels
have the
like maybe they got
shape-shifting
resolved.
abilities, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So then the older Fane came through trying to chase him away, and the older Fane was the protagonist because Gwilana was put in an ice block, not really in the story at all. She kidnaps Lucy. After that, was completely out. Um, but so the older Fane was destroyed by Ingvar's spirit because Ingvar was killed by Grockle after the destroying of the island.
Uh-huh.
Then Grockle, the dragon himself, went into the Fane's realm, which was the main goal to begin with.
Mhm.
And yeah, so the Fane was taking control of. They're like a. How would you describe this? They're like a non-physical being. They can just move through and take over people's minds and kind of control
Okay.
them. And
Interesting.
so that's how they killed David. Is one Tega, the Inuit guy, was taken over by the Fane, and he threw those icicles into David's chest.
Dang.
David said he wasn't going to die
Ouch.
because the ice fire itself is what's going into him, and with it just being, I didn't really see how that worked. I thought it was almost
Okay,
yeah.
that's so. You know what? That's so validating for 14-year-old Darien because I do clearly remember being like, I don't understand what you're saying to me right now, David. Like, I don't. So I'm so glad that an adult human is like, yeah, no, I don't understand what the hell that was. Like, thank you, Diego. Wow.
To me, it felt very Deus Ex Machina, where it
Mm.
has to
Oh.
happen. Is
Oh, yeah.
it's I'm the author, so I'm writing it this way.
Yep.
Ugh, you know what? Don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
Maybe
do
come
that.
up with a better plot structure if you need to pull out. Because I said so.
exactly. And then to end the entire story, so there was Arthur, who was a monk who was kind of helping David, seemed to have some of the
Mhm.
same abilities. He knew Liz from way back when. They kind of rekindled it, and he's got some lasting damage. He's like half blind and whatnot.
Oh.
And but so they're back together now. And then the end of the book was the release of the squirrel snigger, and they allowed him to go back, and that's when Xana revealed it to everyone, saying that she was pregnant. And
Yeah.
then that's when we start this book. So I guess I'm going to get into it. This is the start of the Fire Eternal, Chapter 1, Arctic Ice Cap, Unrecorded Time. This was a very short chapter. It was only a
Mhm.
page, maybe a page and a half long.
Mm.
But we open up with this bear. They didn't give us a name for the bear, and it seems like this bear almost just magically appeared out of thin air. He was kind of
Mhm.
waking up. He felt the blizzard around him. He could feel the wind kind of rustling in circles, and he crushes the ice. He gets up on all fours, and I don't know if you guys watched nature documentaries at all. That was me when I was a kid. I loved all of them. So
Mhm.
I have a very vivid image of this in my mind of them how they would crack the ice to get to the seals and everything.
Mhm.
Mm.
Uh, but it says when he did that, he could feel the power of the ice around him, and he got
Mhm.
some kind of supernatural knowledge, is what I would say almost.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what happened for it. So, what were your guys' thoughts on this first chapter?
I was very worried that this was actually a prologue and I had not done enough. I was like, oh shoot, because I was listening to like an audio reading of it and I was like, wait, was that chapter 1 or was that a prologue? Oh no. So actually I did listen to too many because I wanted to make sure I came it was a very interesting way to start a book that has a dragon on the cover. With a
Yeah.
polar bear.
That's what I always I've been trying to get so many people to read this series for so long, and what I always tell people is you have to get past the first book because even though there's a dragon on the cover of the first book, it's all about squirrels. I was
It's
like,
and no, this is what I was thinking here too while you were describing this book. And I'm like, hey, remember when it was about squirrels and little like clay dragons who may or may not actually have been real magic? Like, that's crazy that that's the first book. And you gotta wonder if Delancey was like, that was the idea, and then came up with the broader, like more spiraling, deeper magic after that. Or they always wanted to do like the bigger, wilder magic stuff with the polar bears and all the entities and stuff, but needed to like trick everybody. Like the first season of Steven Universe. That's like
Oh,
very like
yes.
highly cartoony, highly like not so serious Cartoon Network vibes, right? And then it tricks you with being like super, super queer later. It's like I had to do that. We had to make it a real like kind of kids book vibe, don't worry about it. And then our protagonist, bam, dead. Polar bears. The ice caps are melting. And you're just like, Delancey, I got tricked. What is this about?
trying to bring the deeper messages. What about you, Lucy? How do you feel?
Liked it. Just because it was, but again, like, because I'm going in blind, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like be like, oh no, this polar bear got revived and it's the end of the world, or if it's like, oh yay, this polar bear is back and it's
Such a
great.
good point.
So I was just like, I'm not sure if we're supposed to be like yay or nay about this polar bear. But I also one of the things that caught my, because I also listened to a reading of it, and I just love the way it was described with the wind ruffling the polar bear's fur. I could very, very, very vividly see that going
Yes.
on. It was very
feel
well
it.
written. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I got a quick question for both of you since you said that you
Mhm.
were listening to this. One of the main reasons I made this podcast is because I couldn't find any audiobooks. Where did you guys find them? I can edit this out, so
It's a slime tutorial on YouTube.
interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that makes me
So
feel better. I was gonna say because I couldn't find nothing. I was
No,
so
I-
Oh
angry.
yeah, I was like, oh, let me jump. See, Lucy, that's so crazy because I figured, oh, Libby, like my library app. Oh, my
Yeah.
library just doesn't have the audiobook, so I'll do this. But Lucy will actually listen to the audiobook
Yeah,
probably on Audible. No, what? There's no.
There's nothing. I searched for it on Audible. I think it was the first time we did it, and this time, and it's not there. And I'm like, I would listen to this whole series if it was on Audible, but it is not, or any audio medium, but
That's
it's
so
not.
crazy. No,
It's
okay,
so dumb.
Dale, for the record, even if I couldn't find a slime tutorial about this, I would have gone and bought the book. Like, we
Yes.
wanted to know, like, we would have just gone and bought the book.
Oh,
and read it.
absolutely.
Like, we were so willing to commit, even if we couldn't access this. But like, just yeah.
I super appreciate that. Just so you guys know, I mean, what I'll do is if you guys are willing to continue to just come on and be random guests, I've
Yeah.
already bought in so many box sets. I will buy a box set and just send it to you guys.
Sweet. Yeah.
Price books.
I was gonna
find it.
say
Don't
Half
worry
Price
about
Books
it.
probably
No,
has
no,
it. It's
right
pretty
down the
easy.
street. Like,
It's
we can
yeah.
go get it.
But
so
yeah, that's
sweet of
really
you.
sweet.
I
Yeah.
absolutely do not mind. I've done it for all my friends, everyone's that's been guesting so far. So yeah, if
Oh,
you
that's so
guys are
nice.
willing to be here, I'm willing to make it work.
No,
Awesome.
we will keep making it work. That's so sweet
Yeah.
of you. No. Please.
All right, I
Thank you.
appreciate it. With that, let's get
Yeah.
into chapter 2, a very
Yes.
special gift, which you guys are to me. All right. Okay, so I just got a couple notes on this one. We start out with Xana and her child Alexa. They're kind of walking down the street, and Alexa doesn't seem to really have a care in the world. She's just happy to be around. I didn't get the vibe if it was still snowing or not. It is Valentine's Day. It's February
Mhm.
14th. Xana's having a hard time because this is the day that David died. And
Yeah.
so
Rough.
they're having these
Of course.
memories, and or well, not they are. She is. Xana's thinking
Yeah.
about this. She's having a lot of emotions. She's telling Alexa that they're going to go to the shop.
Mhm.
And when they look into the shop, they see the dragon Gruffin protecting David's, I'd almost call it like a little mini shrine. They have a candle lit for him and a card as well. And then Xana gives Alexa the dragon that David gave to her named Glant. And
Yeah.
my only other note on this is I still don't know what Glant's power is. So,
Okay.
but with that being said, how did this make you guys feel? Did you guys grasp the emotion on it without reading the third book and the depth of that?
Yeah, like I definitely felt this woman's grief
Yes.
coming through, and just like it's because okay, I guess my comment I made earlier about like, hey, this feels like it's a lot fresher than it actually is. I did forget that we were like in the anniversary of David's death, and like that feels like this last week was the anniversary of a really intense breakup I went through 3 years ago,
Mhm.
and 2 months before and where I am now, I'm like, this is a thing that happened. I process it. I am not there anymore. But like last week, it was a lot more intense, and I was having a lot more heavy feelings that I was like working through. And I forgot that, yeah, when it's the anniversary of this thing, it is going to come up more and it is going to feel
Yep.
fresher. So I retract my earlier statement. Yes, of course. But I can feel this grief and like the complicated feelings she's probably having with her daughter who doesn't know what this day means and
Mhm.
doesn't know what this like shrine, this candle is for. And she doesn't, it feels like she's 5. She probably has not gotten to the point where she's registering, hey, wait, why don't I know my dad? Other kids know their dad. I don't know mine. Where's my dad at? Like, she has not had that. And so that's probably a weird thing for Xanis to still be in this position of so much grief that there are people in her life that she can share it with, but her daughter, whose eyes are David, like looks so much like David in
Better,
this little
yeah.
girl's eyes. They're just carrying that. Lucy, you chime in, and I have a question for Diego.
Okay. No, yeah, so I thought she came across really well. The only other thing, like, I have this, like, pessimistic part of my brain being like, of course it happened on Valentine's Day.
So
But I was like, it's fine, it works, it's fine. But I thought that another thought that I was thinking of, I was like, I'm like, has she talked about David in front of like their daughter? I'm like, it's really kind of odd if she hasn't been talking about dad just in front of her, or if she's trying to hide it. But again, I'm like, she is really young. There's the point where this little girl is 5. She's probably not thinking like what you were saying, Darian, where she's not thinking like, where is my dad? What about my dad? Like these kinds of thoughts. But that was like just another odd thing that I was just like, I'm not sure it's like this. I haven't been in that situation, and hopefully I'll never be in that situation
Yeah.
where I have to explain to a child that like, oh, your parent has died, or like making the decision of like, when do I tell them? Should I talk to them like they are here but they're not here? Kind of like a weird space. So that's probably what Zaina, is that her name?
I pronounce it Xana, but all my
Xana?
friends all say Xana as well, so I'm not
Zaina.
really sure where it's at.
Yeah, I'll just
Yeah.
say Xana. So Xana,
There's
like,
not an official audiobook, so we all
yeah,
get
so
to
we
make our
don't know.
choice.
But it's like she's probably had all of those thoughts, and I do think that the way it is written, I think we do get that. We're not told that she has
Yeah.
experienced that like she's had these thoughts or like has gone through this, but just the way she's interacting with her daughter and the way her daughter is interacting with the world, I feel like that comes across where she is trying to take care of her kid, loves her kid to death, but is trying to also like keep her grief to herself so it doesn't impact her daughter negatively. Not saying that grief is negative. I think grief is good. It's the way you're processing what happened. But I think like she doesn't want to dump her grief on her kid and have her kid be weighed down by it too. And I think that's very evident.
I did just remember that the daughter asked if they're going to go see the squirrels from the book. And I'm trying to remember if she knows, if it's implied that Alexa knows that her father is the one who wrote this book, or if she just knows the book.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that either. I know in the next couple chapters we get a little bit further on that David himself is a more well-known author, but I wasn't clear on if Alexa knew that it was her dad as well. I also had to look it up because I was like, are they going to go see the squirrel? How long do squirrels live? And apparently they have a lifespan of 12 to 20 years.
Oh my gosh, I
wow.
mean, the squirrels are still alive. I was like, girly pop, those squirrels are not still there. Oh my gosh, they
Nope,
are.
they're still there.
I was surprised too because I was like, "There's no way." And then I had to, as soon as I read that line, I literally put the book down and was Siri, look this up.
Yeah.
Alexa, wait.
All right. I remember Darian, you said you had a question for me. Was that the question?
Yeah. No, that was the thing I thought of. Actually, I do have a question. Hey, are we supposed to be happy that polar bear is okay?
Oh.
Because Lucy made a really
Sorry
good
about
point
that.
that I was like, oh, right. I think I'm supposed to be happy that polar bear seems okay, but I'm not actually sure.
Yeah. So okay. So the polar bears are on our side. They're not necessarily on the dragon side. They're on humanity's side. So Bergstrom was this Inuit shaman guy. Well, no, he wasn't Inuit. He was Norwegian, but he spent over 20 years with the Inuit tribes, and so he became a shaman with them. And he was the uh, what do you call it when you can shapeshift? He was the shapeshifter that could shapeshift into the old bear Thorin. And so what their argument was is if dragons came back with all of their fire and all of their power, it would then expedite the melting of the ice caps and make
okay.
the world inhabitable. So it wasn't that they were against the dragons, it was just they wanted to keep humanity here and alive. So the bears are good.
Interesting.
The bears helped Lucy keep her alive. There was a mama bear that found her in the cave after Guilana abandoned her there, kept her alive and kind of went to like a hibernation mode. And Ingvar was the one that killed the Fane.
Okay.
And at the end, so Ingvar technically died, and then David died, and then they had some weird ritual where they put them side by side, and then there was 4 bears on each cardinal direction around them, and then they like sent them into the ocean. So from the end of that book, and the end of that book made me realize that I don't remember this series very much at all because I was like, how are you going to kill the main character at the end of book 3? You know, like how does that happen? So I kind of, and this was a prediction for me I let my friend say it before because we did a book review this just last episode, and she said that she got the feeling that David was going to come back with Ingvar as kind of the next shaman, shapeshifter, kind of take the torch and go on that way. So,
Hmm.
in my opinion, I think the bears are on our side.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now the real question I actually had is, what's the deal with Gland? I don't remember David giving her this invisible dragon. Like, it is what can we? Do you? We don't know his power. Can you provide any context to
There really
how?
isn't any context, period.
Cool.
So, from what I remember at the end of the book, David had. I don't even remember who made him, if it David had made him or if Lucy had made him, but he gave Galant to Xana as a Valentine's Day present slash, death present is what you're gonna
Oh,
call it.
jeez.
But and then he said that the name will come to her, that she has to name him.
Uh-huh.
And then she only got the name a couple weeks later after everything from Gadzooks. And we find out later in
Yeah.
this chapter that that was the last thing that
That's
Gadzooks
yes.
had actually
Hmm.
contributed.
Mm.
Yeah, he hasn't written anything because. Oh, well, hold on. I'll save that thought for when we actually get to that chapter. But yeah, okay. I was just trying to remember. I was like, wait, the dragon's invisible? Wait, can Xana see it and the little girl can see it? That I was like trying to because she says you have to work really hard to see it. It's like, so is it like you can only see it with magic or is it, I can't see it. Can you see it? Xana?
Yeah.
Can Alexa see it? I'm not sure.
And that was also it's also for part of me is I'm like, can she see it anyway? Or is the 5-year-old just like, oh yes, I like him. Like, oh, I think he's really pretty. But is it just a 5-year-old being like, oh yes, this dragon I have now in my hand, but can't actually
We're
see the
playing
dragon?
pretend, and I know how to
Yes,
play.
exactly. So that crossed my mind as well.
I would like to think that she's able to see these dragons. So when in the last book we found out that okay, so in the original lore, there's Guinevere and there's Gwendolyn. Guinevere was the
Hmm.
original handler of the dragons. She made a deal with Gwilana. Not sure if you guys remember Gwilana or not.
She's our mean aunt.
Yeah, the evil Sybil
Well, the
lady that
evil, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So she made a deal with Guilana and she said, I want to have a daughter. And so Guilana molded Gwendolyn out of dragon scale, mud,
Mm-hmm.
and the spirit of something. Because she didn't get the dragon terror, but so that she was created by Guilana, but not necessarily Guinevere's actual daughter. And so what we got is basically two lineages. Liz and Lucy are from Guinevere, direct, and then Xana actually is a direct descendant to Gwendolyn. And so
Oh.
Mm.
they, are kind of, I would think, since Alexa is obviously Xana's direct daughter and a descendant of David with his abilities. Not sure how David got his abilities. It's never really been explained. He doesn't have an ancient lineage or anything.
Huh.
But I would think that being a combined product of those two, she would have the ability to see them and
Mhm.
Yeah,
interact
that
with
makes
them.
That makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
One thing
Okay.
I've always
Oh,
oh
yeah, go ahead.
I just reflecting on the series, like one thing I was always trying to grapple with when I was younger is trying to figure out like what the deal with the magic system was. Like I remember like in the
Mm.
first book it's very unclear if the dragons are really magic or if they're just representations or if it's just a quirky artsy lady. And then in later books it becomes more apparent that no, the dragons are alive, no, the magic is real, but even when it becomes like no, yeah, this is part of the world, I always, and again I was 14 when I read this, I always felt like it never really, and I'm not advocating for explaining a magic system. Let me be very clear. I'm not asking for an info dump. That's not what I mean. I just felt like it still seemed, and you can tell me, Diego, if I'm just like was 14 and misremembering, but felt like it was not ever consistent. Like there was never a moment when like, yes, the dragons are real and you can see them all the time. It kind of just felt like it was like sometimes yes, sometimes no, but we're not going to tell you why yes, why no.
I got you. So I would say in the first book, they do very much keep it a mystery because David
Mm-hmm.
himself is trying to figure that out. The explanation we get is that Liz is able to choose, right? Because she does. That's how she makes her living. Is she makes these
Uh-huh.
clay dragons and takes them to the market.
Mhm.
Um, And so she has a separate shelf, right? She has special dragons and non-special dragons, and the special dragons she sprinkles on what they call ice fire, and it's just
Mhm.
some special snow that was brought by the bears, actually, that contain a lot of Gwen's essence in the fire tier.
Uh-huh.
And so
Mhm.
that combined with Liz's own magical abilities is what gives the dragons life. So there are
Okay, okay.
special dragons and non-special, and Liz gets to choose which ones are which.
Interesting.
Okay, okay, that's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, dear listeners, I apologize if me asking all these questions is annoying to you. Who's caught up and knows what's going on. I
I think
appreciate your
these books
patience.
are confusing enough to where they need to be asked anyway.
It's a recap for everybody.
Recap for
Fantastic.
everyone. Just a
Okay.
little refresh there.
It's also been almost a year since I've covered that first book, so might need a
Okay,
quick
nice.
so
review.
okay, cool,
Yep.
cool. Thank you.
All right, well, let's get into chapter 3 then, what Xana wrote. And
Mhm.
this is where we get the whole angsty teen Lucy, where she's
Mhm.
trying to find out exactly what's going on. I should also, I forgot to kind of mention that the beginning of this book started with a letter. Oh,
Yes, there was an email.
yes, it was an email from a national newsletter that's trying to cover David, just the disappearance of him and everything. And so it goes for Dear Her Penny, which her is just HRR for the ways that dragons not really growl, but that's the sound they make.
Mhm.
Thanks for the feedback on David Rain. Appreciate you taking time to reply, but you've told me nothing more than I can find on your website already. Future needs a definite angle, some history, circumstances of his disappearance, perhaps. If you can't supply, we'll look elsewhere. And so that's the before even a prologue or anything. That was before the prologue or anything. And so now this kind of makes more sense going into chapter 3. But
Mhm.
Lucy is very upset. She believes that David is still here. She thinks
Mhm.
that the proof of Gadzooks and Graith still working and being magical, and have not shedding their fire tear is proof enough that David is still here.
Mhm.
She's pretty upset because she thinks that the way that Liz is interacting with the dragons and moving about her life, and the way that Xana is writing these notes. And it comes out that Xana only writes these notes on the anniversary of David's death.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
she's never read, from what I got and understood of this, Lucy has not read these any of these letters before, and that's why she was
Mm.
so adamant
Yes.
about getting to this one.
Yep.
She's become kind of a tech genius. She was able to
Yeah.
work some
Yep.
things out, make a website for her mom, which in
Mhm.
today's age, I don't want to be mean, but like might not be
No,
that hard anymore.
and even in 2008, it's like just knowing tech in general, being able to create a website wouldn't necessarily have made someone a genius unless you were an older person who didn't know how to do any of it. And just
Mhm.
knowing how to do basic like coding would have come off as being like, again, not to say that anyone who was able to do that at 15 in 2007 wasn't like highly skilled in like knowledgeable about this kind of thing. But it definitely came off as like, oh, if you can put on a printer, you're a genius with technology. It's like, no, I just kind of do know how it works. I just
Yeah.
have a baseline. I know how to work it. But yes, but she is meant to be like, we are meant to understand that she is like a tech prodigy. Sounds aggressive, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is her thing. She's a tech whiz.
100%. Okay, and then so I don't quite remember if I read this last night after we were doing a bunch of moving, and so I was trying to take some quick notes,
Oh,
but I didn't
mm-hmm,
get if
mm-hmm,
Liz and Arthur were out of the house or if they were just preoccupied. But we know that Xana and Alexa are out, and so this is kind of
mm-hmm,
one of the only opportunities that Lucy has to get the letter. The letter is on a laptop, and she sends her own personal dragon, Gwendolyn, after her own namesake, over
mm-hmm,
there. And in my mind, I like to picture it that Gwendolyn was able to like shift her tail to plug into the computer, but she essentially goes
mm-hmm,
onto the computer,
Yep.
downloads this letter, takes it over to Lucy, and Lucy's opening it up and
mm-hmm.
begins to read. And I need to flip my notes real quick.
I love a handwritten notes.
Yes.
I
High
for some
respect.
reason I feel weird taking notes on my phone. I just
Tactile needs to be tactile.
Yep, it makes it easier for me to read in this. But so the beginning of the letter, Lucy gets pretty upset. She feels like it's a little too mushy. It's going on about how Xana feels about him, kind of letting him
Mm-hmm.
know about Alexa and what's going on with the household. And Lucy thinks that this is kind of dumb. She thinks that Xana should be writing about stuff David would care about, or
Yeah.
she would think David would care about, like
Huh?
global warming, what's going on with the dragons and the bears.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if David knew, I'm not sure if Xana was ever able to tell David that she was pregnant with his kid, but if David knew that he was going to have a child, I'm sure he'd want to hear about that.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
very 15-year-old mindset to be like, oh, this isn't important. It's like, actually, it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so this is kind of where it comes to that Lucy believes David's still out there because Gadzooks and Graith are still working, and Liz is
Yep.
now starting to think and have this belief that dragons aren't necessarily linked to their owners. And
Mm-hmm.
when I read that line, I instantly got shot over and thought about you guys to Eragon and how Eragon,
Oh,
their
yeah.
riders, are
Yeah.
linked to their dragons. You know, if
Yep.
Yeah.
one dies, the other, or no, what is it? It's if the dragon dies, the rider can live on, but if the rider dies, the dragon dies as well, right?
I
Not
think
in the book. I think that's a movie. I think that's the
That's
movie
just a
thing.
movie thing.
I
Okay.
think
think
that's
just
the movie thing because it's either one can survive if the other dies, but it is very difficult because you feel a part of yourself die. We actually, I feel like we
Yes.
just listened to this
Literally
where
just
Glader
covered.
explains where if your partner dies, you have to resist the urge to pull their soul into you because that's
Mhm.
one, an abomination is how what Glader calls
Yep.
it, and two, you will feel that part of you die, and that's what drives the rider and or dragon insane. So
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I
It is
guess you're
also,
right
like-
because go ahead. Sorry, Darian. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just saying, like, just adding on to like the lore of that. It's like they're also taught that if your partner is dying, you have to cut off
Yep.
the
Complete-
connection. If you don't,
completely
you
cut
will
off the
die as
connection.
well.
Yep.
Like, so that's what it is. Like, if the other one isn't willing to live on, because I wonder if it's like a choice. Like in the Eragon books, like you as the writer or the dragon have to choose. I know I'm going to lose you, and I have to make the decision to keep going and cut off that connection before it kills them both. But
I think I was just confused because we know that Braum lives, and I guess that makes way more sense.
Mhm.
Again, spoiler warning if you don't want to know about
Yeah.
Aragon moving forward. But hold
Mhm.
on, has Lucy read them? Lucy, do you know the full
yes,
story
we've
Eragon?
both.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, all right, all
In
right.
fact, I'm the one who's read less because I haven't read Murtagh and Lucy has.
Yes. So yeah, it's like the only thing we
I'm
haven't
saving it for
read
the pod.
is Murtagh. Yes, we haven't
Mhm.
done that one.
I want to do a bonus episode on Murtagh. So if you guys want to cover Murtagh, I'm totally there for it. But I was gonna say, I guess that makes more sense because we find out later on that Galbatorix's dragon Shuriken.
Shuriken.
It's
Shuriken?
Shuriken, but I also always say Shuriken.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
yeah.
But
every
it's Shuriken.
time, but it is Shuriken. Yeah.
So Shuriken is his second dragon as well,
Mhm.
and
He
so we
stole
do
him.
have several examples of the rider and dragon both dying. But so yeah, so when I read that first line, I was instantly shot to you guys and back into the
Yeah.
Eragon thing.
Mm-hmm.
But so after Lucy is reading this, she is responding to the email that she got from the newsletter. And
Mhm.
she says to go see Xana, gives her the shop address and who she can talk to.
Mhm.
And Lucy says it's now time to wake the world up. And I guess that kind of brings me to the end of that chapter. Lucy, did you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so the one thing that I was thinking of is like I thought it was really interesting because the reason Zaina burns, I can't remember, she burns the letters is like
Mhm.
why they can't be read, which I'm like I feel like that's insanely cathartic. I'm pretty sure that's like
Yes.
helping her so much with that. And so like I was like super on board with that. I was like, yes, absolutely, but I also like totally understand why Lucy's like, I don't get that. That's dumb. I want to read these. It's
Mhm,
like it's really
mhm.
not your business. These are like deeply personal thoughts that this person is feeling, but all right. But then like doesn't she, so I was really confused because the person I was listening to, Darian, we might have listened to the same
Yeah,
person.
we definitely did.
She stopped her reading at this point and was saying like the way Lucy spelt this email,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have beef with that because I'm like I was trying to think back to when I was 16 and I was writing fan fiction and I was writing all these things, and I'm like I don't think my spelling was that bad. And so I was like I think the way that she was describing it was that her spelling was atrocious and it's awful. And I'm like, this sounds like a 10-year-old made like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old spelling, but I was like, also, I don't know. I would have had to see it to make a good judgment.
I don't think it was supposed to be Lucy is bad at spelling. I think it's Lucy is 15 and doing 15-year-old text chat slang.
Okay, yes,
But I
okay.
also think it was specifically an older adult writing how they think a 15-year-old would send an email.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, that's what it was. And I'm like, okay, why is this journalist responding to emails that are being written in this way?
Like this,
there's
yeah.
No way. There's no way after getting after getting one email that's like this, that journalist is like, thank you so much for your time. We will be pursuing other avenues. Like, that is not reliable. Like, there's no way you would think that this is a solid source if they're saying you're like you actually saw it, Dago. You have it. You can tell us what this looks like. The number 4, it's like, Lucy, you're sending an email. You're not sending a text. You're having to push number 7 6 times to get to the letter S. Like, Lucy. You have a full keyboard.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. It does feel like texting. If she's saying you, it's just the letter U.
Mm-hmm.
Your, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right, RGT.
Yeah.
Wrong, WRG. And so, I mean, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty when I'm texting somebody real quick and I'm saying right now, I'll shorten it to RN, something real quick. But like you said, Darien, in no way am I going to send that to a professional anything.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it does make sense that if she's 15 or 16, I think she actually might be 16 because I remember in one of the books she turned 11.
Okay.
And then this is a 5 year. So I think she, I mean, either way, it's not much of a difference, but I think she's technically 16.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that one definitely just came off as how an older adult thinks a teenager would communicate over any form of technology. Like all kids today, and it's just like, that doesn't make sense. And also the fact that this clearly from we see like the email from the top, there has been correspondence, and it's like, what did the last one look like?
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah.
No.
Like, yeah.
And Lucy's clearly pretending like she's not saying who she is. But yeah, it was a little embarrassing for Lucy, but also being like, I hate it when we do this. Oh, hi, Cash. Sorry, the dog just showed back up. You heard me talking about him. I don't like it when when an author is trying to emulate how they think young people communicate. It's always so like,
cringe.
You're not wrong, but in this case you are, and I'm embarrassed for you.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with one of my friends, Kaylee, who's been doing this journey with me. One of her biggest gripes are when a male author is writing a female character.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We had a big conversation on that last time too. I don't think Chris does a terrible job, but one thing I've noticed is we don't get any inner dialogue or reasoning as to why they're doing what they're doing. To me, it just seems like this is what the male protagonist needs, so my female's going to do this kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other thoughts on this chapter before I move to the next one?
I really liked that Lucy's dragon's like special skill is also tech. Like as Lucy herself starts to develop that it is so much influencing her. And I also like that the other dragons are like, that's kind of weird, but they don't say anything. Like they're all just like, what is this new age, like newfangled like youth thing? Like it just feels like the other dragons, they're like, this is a fad. And you'll move past it.
Yeah, because I
thought
like
that was a fun angle.
Yeah, because they say like, oh, we thought that this dragon didn't have any powers, but then she can attach her tail to a laptop and download information into herself and then project it on another screen. That is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I think what it is, like, she doesn't download it from Xana's laptop because Xana burns the letters, which means it's handwritten. I think it describes her as, like,
that's right. She has to scan it. That's right. That's right. I
and,
forgot
like,
about that.
photocopying it, bringing it over. And I love I love that. That was so charming.
Because I think it even describes, like, it only takes her a second to fully scan and absorb the information. That's right. She plugs her tail into Lucy's computer to re-upload it. Yes.
Yeah, I really like that. I thought that was charming. I do wonder if this is such an intense violation of like privacy and so like disrespectful to Xana and like her grieving process and stuff. And I do wonder if like later on is the story gonna acknowledge that what Lucy did here was like super uncool
Yeah.
and ultimately not necessary.
Mhm. It's
Like,
just it was to Lucy was curious to know what she was writing, and that's
yeah.
all it was. It wasn't, like, to gain information or do anything, Lucy just wanted to know, and she was
Yeah.
upset that Zaina wasn't letting her read these letters, which, of course, she wouldn't let you read these
Yeah.
letters, girl, like, these are so personal.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
like
because she didn't really gain any information other than how
yes.
Zaina was feeling, and
Yeah.
even
Mhm.
when she was responding to the newsletter, she didn't use any of the information that she just gained. She just
Yeah.
said, "Go talk
Yep.
to Zaina." So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, and I'm not criticizing Lucy as a character doing it because, like we said earlier, like she's 16 years old, and I remember being 16 and thinking I was very entitled to anything because I thought like I perceived myself as being like wiser and just more like deeper connected to the world, and it's like clearly I have
Mhm.
it all figured out and I'm right about what I want because that's what it means to be 16. You're a
Yes.
child. Sorry, gang.
Yes.
It's still
Yep.
so that's just me being like, yeah, I totally see that Lucy as a 16-year-old would do this. This is like that makes sense. But I'm curious if the narrative is going to in the future acknowledge that that wasn't necessary and Lucy was actually wrong to do that and to think that, or if it's just how we as the audience are meant to like that was the way we were gonna show Lucy's new skill with technology, show her dragon's power, and do the letter all in one swoop.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure. I mean, I like you were saying earlier, I do hope that we get a little bit more later on into the story on even if it's Xana confronting her, being upset about it. But to me, it was almost pointless because there wasn't any use to the
Mm-hmm.
information gain.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it was interesting for us to see how Xana is feeling and the fact that she does this and kind of what she's viewing as important, and Lucy's resentment of feeling like, no, we need to like believe in David and like save the polar bears and save the world. Like it's a very like I'm 16 and I'm going to save the world. Like all of that tracks and makes sense, but it does feel like unless the payoff is potentially to use this as an opportunity for growth for Lucy, if Xana were to confront her and Lucy is like giving her an opportunity to see, and like we said earlier, when she feels like those early details about how much Xana misses David and details about his daughter, she's like, this isn't important. I do think that that could come around later as like when you learn and you grow and to see what was and wasn't important. Um, it just yeah, if that's not the point of why we did this, and as you said, Diego, we didn't learn anything particularly useful for
Yeah.
Lucy in this interaction, so why did we have this be the way it played out?
Yeah.
No clue. All right. Well, I think that brings us into chapter 4, and this was a long freaking
There's
title.
a
Um,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sea ice northwest of I don't even know how to say that word. Nordostrodl
Sure. Absolutely. Got
Svalbard
into one.
archipelago unrecorded time. And I do think it's interesting how we jump around perspectives with almost every chapter.
Mhm.
I think I would feel better settling in, maybe get 2 chapters at a time with each person just to get some story going.
Mhm.
But we jump
Yeah.
back with the bears into this one.
Mhm.
And we're following Thorin, which was interesting because in the last book, we got Bergstrom being attacked by the Fane, and then he
Mhm.
just disappeared. And Thorin uh, wasn't a part of the main conflict at the end. He was gone as well, just missing in action. So the fact that we end up with Thorn coming here is interesting to me, and he knows that he's dying. He's kind of on his way out. He feels that his time is coming.
Yep.
This chapter is really a lot about passing the torch,
Yeah.
and we get Thorin being met by Ingvar and 2 other bears. We're told that these 2 bears, one is a fighter and one is the storyteller.
Mhm.
And the storyteller, we get a different name, so I think the torch has been passed for all of these guys because the fighter was Ragnar, and then it passed to Ingvar. But now that Ingvar is the leader, this it was passed. I forget this name, something with a K, it's like Killian or something. And then the
Mhm.
storyteller was Laurel, and oh man, I would have to get somebody else to see those names. But so we get those 3 bears interacting with Thorin, basically telling him, "Hey, you've done a good job. It's now my job to protect the North and everything that's going on." And so they have this quick conversation. There's this interaction with the sun, and they say that they see this magical fire appear, the white fire that doesn't burn. Ingvar's having this conversation, tells
Mhm.
Thorin that he'll carry on his legacy and that his time has come. he opens his mouth, Thorin becomes engulfed in these flames. It doesn't say that
Gosh.
he necessarily, um, is burned alive and it's like a hurtful process. To me, it
Yeah,
felt
he's
more
not like
like,
a mole. Dang, I really did think I knew how to pronounce that word. The fancy word for being burned alive. Ate it?
Yeah.
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 Emulation, emulated. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not that. It does feel like just a
yeah, I almost pictured
magical.
it like, have
Yeah.
you guys seen Brother Bear, the old Disney movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Almost like
Yes.
that, where he's being kind of brought up into the spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the whatever magic the flames are being used to like bring you to your core essence and
Yeah.
bring that
Yeah.
in rather than an actual physical destruction.
Yeah, and so we do get that this bear
That was
is
crazy.
Ingvar himself, and
Mhm.
then the fires burn down. Ingvar absorbs all of that, and he tells his storyteller to acknowledge them, and then tells the fighting bear to go get the bird that's frozen in ice, but only to unlock its head and its legs, and tell the bird to walk to him. Now, this bird, I know this might be weird for you guys. Like, who is this bird? This is Guilana. Guilana
I was
was
gonna say, I bet
frozen.
this. You said that the evil ant was frozen. I'm like, I bet that's the evil ant. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So the Fane had come through and was trying to talk to Guilana, and they were very much at odds, right? Because Guilana wanted to bring back the dragons, the Fane didn't want it. So she tried to fly away in bird form, and he like froze her and then dove her into some kind of block of ice somehow. So she's just been
Interesting.
frozen for 5 years now that we
Oh,
know.
fun.
Dang,
Yeah.
she got Steve Rogered.
Yeah. Yeah. The soldier out of time. But
Ugh.
so I'm interested to see. We do know that Guilana has been there for every lineage going through for Liz and
Mhm.
Guinevere's line, had trained Gwendolyn and pretty much anyone from that line who showed any significant power.
Mhm.
So for her coming in, this means to me that she's going to be there for Alexa. Whatever Alexa is going to be a part of
Mhm.
this story, Auntie Gwyneth or Guilana is going to be a big part of it. But that's pretty much the notes that I have on here. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to talk about in this chapter?
The polar bear's eyes, like the big
Yes. I
or
was literally
guy,
going to mention that.
they say it's not brown anymore; that they're blue.
Blue.
Like they describe it the same way Xana describes Alexa's eyes as
Yes.
looking like David's, and I was like, "Oh, it's David."
Yeah. That's
There
what
he
that was
is.
my thought. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
David.
oh, there he is.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, and we didn't get the mention of David yet, but that's
Yeah.
exactly what I feel about it too, especially since we had that, I would say, almost spiritual ritual at the end of book 3 with both of
Yeah.
them. I would agree that this Ingvar/David hybrid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you,
I
Lucy?
I like the way the author describes this I think Ingvar walking across the ice. It's not like he's walking across it, it's like the ice is supporting the bear. Like I can't remember how they described, but the way that that was described was kind of cool where it was like uh oh, I don't know. Like if somebody's like in control of water and they're like walking in midair, but the water's rising to support. That's kind of like
Yes.
the same
Mhm.
vibe I got, but
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
the frozen ice. So it was like that's the vibe the ice was giving. While this bear is like walking across. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then again, I at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be like yay about these bears or bad about these bears. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about the bears. Because I'm like, it could go either way. Like, oh, this is like kind of a premonition of like bad things to come because the first chapter ended with like, oh, this was gonna change the world, and then this is like,
Yeah.
oh, this like ice bear, ice god. I'm like, is this we're gonna talk about like the bears are gonna freeze the earth over because there was mention of the ice caps melting, so this powerful ice bear is gonna come and just freeze the world, be like, okay, you're gonna freeze the ice
Problem
caps, I'll
solved.
freeze the whole world instead.
Mhm.
Or it was like, oh, we're gonna like, oh, it's a good thing, and that this bear is gonna help things and da da. So I was like, it could go either way for me,
Mhm.
but that was like my vibe I got.
Right. Do you guys have any notes that I didn't hit on or anything that you want to talk about?
I'm just surprised to learn how long squirrels can live. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, incredible.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Any
Okay.
one thing, yeah.
Well then let's close this out. You guys have been awesome. I wasn't sure if we are going to be able to spread these chapters out an hour, but somehow magically we did it.
Woohoo!
So I'll close it out with a couple of questions. So I know last time we talked about what kind of dragons you guys would have. I think we
Mm-hmm.
talked about maybe the colors that they would be too a little bit.
Mhm.
So my next question is going to be, now I have to think of my question again. Okay, so the names of the dragons, they all start with G. What would your guys' dragon's
Yeah.
name be?
Right. And the names really have nothing to do with the dragon power. They're just like a sound.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hey, all writers, if you need a really good site for like thesaurus, word hippo is excellent. It breaks down not just like the exact like here's other like synonyms, but it'll break them down into like a vibe. Like if you aren't using word hippo for your writing, you are missing out. It's great.
The only thing that came into my mind, and it's probably maybe it's off the thing, would just be Gigi,
Oh, Gigi.
because I'm also looking at my cat Vivi.
Ah.
Nice. I kind of get the feeling that these dragons are almost a little bit cat-like too with their mannerisms.
Yeah, and
Oh,
there's
well,
also Gigi
dragons
from
are cats.
yeah, absolutely. Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service for sure.
Oh yeah.
That's cute. I like that.
I just saw Gadget.
Oh,
Oh,
I love
And, I
Gadget.
think Gadget, because I think we both were like writing, but I think I was like, you know what? And mine would also be a techie dragon, and its special power would be to clean up raw audio.
Yes,
Oh, background noise, it's gone.
gone. Don't even worry about it.
And truncate silence, done.
Yes,
Gadget, that's her superpower.
I love it.
perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I will keep in contact with you and hopefully do this. Maybe we'll do like a mid book or an end book something.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
But
fun.
this is amazing. Journey has been kind of crazy. We're coming up on a year. We're now on
Yeah.
book 4 of 7. So we're kind of directly in
Yes,
the
that was
middle.
congrats. That's always so
I
exciting.
can't believe it. David dies. It's not even halfway through the series, and you
Yep.
killed off your protagonist.
Yeah, and
Chris,
then we
it's
still don't have
bold.
any message of him. Oh,
Mhm.
that's actually one thing I do want to mention. So this week I had kind of a cool interaction. I have been
Ooh.
reaching out to Chris DeLacy himself just to try to
Oh,
get him on
nice.
the pod,
Huh?
and unfortunately, he finally did respond. He unfortunately said that he can't be a part of it. He stopped answering fan letters because he himself forgot the plot lines of the book. It's been
Oh,
so
fair
long.
enough.
Yeah, but I was able to get his
Yeah.
phone number. We did have a phone conversation. He gave me his blessing for this. I
So
tried to
cool.
offer I tried to offer saying that I'll be the expert and just please come on just to be part of it. But
Uh-huh.
so unfortunately, audience, we tried to get Papa Chris on. Won't happen, but just know that he is out there and aware. I don't know if he's listening or not now, but we've
David,
sort of
that's so
made it.
cool.
That's really cool.
That's
That's really cool.
incredible. Just
Yeah.
wow, good for you. You talked to him on the phone, and he's like extended this is go forth with my blessing. Bring the dragons to the world. Like Diego,
That's so cool.
awesome.
That's really
You're
cool.
Pretty cool. I felt
legit.
very vindicated thinking that I'm doing
Yes.
something right, you know?
Yeah.
All right. But with that, I hope you guys had a safe flight out and hit no turbulence. Do you guys have any sign off you'd like to do?
Hey, if you also want to listen to us talk more about a series that we absolutely know what's going on, you can check us out at Eragon and Back Again. I'm sure Diego has a link in the show notes for you.
Yes. Come join us.
If you're
Thank you
looking
guys
for
so
a pit
much.
stop before the next episode,
There
we
you
got
go.
you covered.
There you go.
Plenty. I think you guys have like what, 70 episodes out almost by now at this point?
74.
74. Yeah, jeez. I mean, one day I'll get there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You just keep going. One
Just
day
keep
you'll hit
going.
that
You'll get
point.
it.
You just have to keep going.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you again. Bye.